Hi everybody, and thanks for joining today's webinar, 20-Minute PPC Work Week. My name is Michelle, and I'm just here to get things started today. So before we begin, for those of you who aren't familiar with WordStream, we are a search marketing software provider. We provide free and paid tools to help you easily grow your AdWords, Bing, and Facebook campaigns. If you're looking to master page search, which you all I'm sure are, you can check out our PPC University at www.wordstream.com/learn. So before we get into today's presentation, just a couple of logistics. You will receive an email following the presentation today that has a recording and also has the slides for you. So look out for that following the webinar, and then also we will save some time for a Q&A at the end of the presentation, so please submit those questions to us and our experts will do their best to get to them before we conclude. And lastly, we really encourage you to be social and join in on the conversation using hashtag PPC20 and following the handle @WordStream. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our two experts for today. We have Tim Warner, who's the Director of Sales. Tim has over 9 years experience in PPC, and he's a certified AdWords professional. We also have Sam Boyd, who is our Director of International Sales, also a certified AdWords professional with over 4 years of experience in search marketing.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. Thanks for joining the webinar.
Hey everybody.
Okay, and what Tim and Sam will be taking you all through today, some shocking yet common problems in PPC accounts, 6 steps to achieve success in Google AdWords, how you can improve your PPC performance in just 20 minutes a week, and then finally, like I said, we'll get to some Q&A. So before we begin and pass things off to the experts, we just want to learn a little bit about you all. So our first question, how much time do you spend on PPC each week? A, I'm supposed to do PPC, working I can every week. B, less than an hour per week. C, 1 to 10 hours per week. D, 10 to 39 hours a week. And E, 40+ hours a week. It is my full-time job. So go ahead and submit those answers. Okay. So it's looking like we have the most amount of you on the line that are spending between 1 and 10 hours a week, followed closely by less than 1 hour a week.
Awesome. We'll have some really good content, I think, for everybody here then.
Great. All right, one other question for you all. What is your biggest time suck in PPC management? Is it PPC bid management, reporting and analysis, ad text authoring, keyword research and negative keyword research, or landing page optimization?
So Sam, what do you think is your best guess for some of the biggest time sucks that people are having?
I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of work that's done for people that are looking to do more keyword research, but I'm always interested to see how much time people are spending on actual reporting as well.
Okay.
Okay, and it looks like reporting comes in with almost half of those on the webinar today, choosing that as the biggest time suck, and then it's followed by bid management.
All right, winner, winner, chicken dinner for reporting.
1 for 2.
1 for 2, okay. Thank you guys for taking a few minutes to fill out that information. My name's Tim. I'm the Director of Sales for the North American team here at WordStream. Like Michelle said, I have about 10 years experience with PPC from this company. I've been with WordStream for about 6 years, and my previous life I was with another Google partner for about 3 or 4 years. And then Sam also, by chance, has been here for about 4 or 5 years, and then worked at the same company that I did before we came over here. So we've been with our business for a long period of time, and we've spoken with thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who are doing PPC. So hopefully that gives you'll get an understanding of who we are. Before we continue on with the presentation, we want to let everybody know that a lot of the information that we're going to give you actually comes from this AdWords Performance Grader. So hopefully everybody on the call did get a chance to run that grader. If you haven't, it's a free tool. It's an awesome tool. But what it's done for our company, it's actually given us more PPC data than any other company in the world except for Google, which is pretty amazing. And the link will actually be in the chat. So if you do get a chance after the presentation or after the webinar, please do go and run that. But it will give you a really, really good understanding of how you're comparing against other people in your industry with similar spend patterns. So you're going to be able to see really cool things like quality score, how are you doing for negative keywords, how many expanded text ads you have, some mobile information in there, and hopefully that will give you a really good baseline as to what your performance is with AdWords.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing is we've actually run over 1 million of those reports and over $9 billion in ad spend. So the amount of insight we have into not only AdWords but specific industries is really second to none. But a couple of key things we've learned is that, from those reports, 50% of accounts haven't been optimized in the last month. So the crazier thing about that is over 25% of them haven't been touched in the last 3 months. So it's really interesting to see that a lot of people are unfortunately neglecting their accounts, which oftentimes leads to low quality scores. And we'll talk about quality score a good amount here today and the impact it has on the account. But the crazy thing is those two things really go hand in hand. And one of the other things we find is that 1 in 4 accounts actually has 0 negative keywords, which is kind of mind-blowing if you think about it. So one of the key components of how we can help people and create a proper workflow for people to make sure they have the most success they can from these accounts really does touch on negative keywords as well.
Yeah, and this next slide is going to illustrate exactly what we found as well. And the harsh reality is that a lot of the accounts that we see for small to medium and even enterprise level businesses is that PPC is hard, and it's also not performing the way that most of you probably want it to perform. So our business is here to educate people on how to do it and how to do it better. And hopefully through this webinar, you're going to be able to see different trends as to how you can not only manage it more efficiently, like in 20 minutes per week, but also more effectively. Every single person we talk to has pretty much 2 main goals: do it faster and do it better. And hopefully within this webinar, like I said, you're going to be able to figure out how to do it faster and better. So before we even give you guys more information, just one more poll so we can understand how you guys are approaching PPC. If you don't mind just taking literally 5 seconds to check the box which one best fits your current situation, we'll go from there.
This was always interesting to see how people are really taking the approach towards, the time that they do have to get into the account. It's really interesting to see, where are you spending the most time, and is it really the best place, to be allocating your time?
All right, cool. It looks like most people are actually doing all the above. So good job, you guys. That's fantastic. And the reason we have that is because we really want to talk to you guys about what it takes to actually have success with Google AdWords. And really, it's 6 steps. Number 1, you need to have a strategy. You need to have an understanding of what you're doing and what you're trying to get out of your Google AdWords account. The second thing you need to do is you need to track your results. So half of the accounts that we see don't even have conversion tracking, and this is the 21st century. There's technology there for you. You can track telephone calls. You can track lead forms. You can track emails from your website. You can track people downloading white papers. You can track people making purchases directly on your website. The technology exists. You need that in order to improve your results. The next thing you need to do is you need to analyze all of your data within your account, and this is where we see the big struggle is for people when they're managing an account. AdWords is data, right? AdWords is just all data. How can you come in there, analyze data, and then the next step, how can you optimize off of that data to improve your account? Very difficult to do. After you're able to have a great strategy, you're able to track your conversions, analyze on your data, optimize your data, and get your AdWords account and really your online marketing in a good position. The next thing you want to do is you actually want to expand. So Google AdWords is expensive. They're expensive clicks or expensive conversions. There's other opportunities out there for you, whether that be the display network or remarket or even Bing, which is a fantastic place to get less expensive conversions, and it's also less competitive. And then there's a big gorilla in the room that I don't know who's using it yet, but Facebook is making a lot of noise as well. So there's different channels available to you to go after your potential customers. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to invest in third-party tools, whether that be something like a WordStream, right, where it just gives you more opportunity to analyze your search query data and analyze exactly what's happening in your account in a lot more efficient way than going directly into the Google AdWords interface, which is clunky, which is difficult to move around. So you want to be able to utilize all these different functionalities to beat your competition, which is really what Advertisers is all about. But Sam's gonna move into how each of these things impacts your performance too.
Yeah, and one of the big things that Tim alluded to is that over half of the SMBs that we are working with or we've seen through our AdWords performance graders aren't actually tracking conversions of any sort. So when we say conversions, we want to make sure we have goals set up within the account that allow us to optimize towards those endpoints. So if you're an e-commerce shop, it should be that point of purchase. If you're looking to do lead generation, it would be when somebody fills out a form fill or gives you a call. The biggest thing we find is that people that are tracking conversions and doing it correctly are actually able to optimize their account to higher levels than the people that are essentially flying blind when they're not doing it. So the idea is we want to make sure we're getting the entire picture. You know, when somebody runs a search on Google or on Bing or is even on Facebook, you know, they come through your website, they can potentially fill out a form or even give you a phone call. You know, the goal is let's make sure we're tracking everything in there all the way through. So then that way we know, which keywords are actually yielding us a great return on investment. How can we start optimizing our account towards maybe a specific cost per acquisition? It really helps paint a clear picture in order to help you learn from the account, but also optimize and move forward in order to improve the results.
Yeah, so now that we learned how to track conversions, analyze and optimize that information, now what we really want to do is be relevant. Okay, now I wish we actually had another questionnaire up here that we could throw up, and it would just be one question that said, do you understand how quality score impacts your business? Not your AdWords account, but how does quality score impact your business? And I will actually give you the secret here. Quality score is going to give you a better page positioning, a lower cost per click, and a lower cost per acquisition. Okay, that's how important this quality score metric is, and really just comes down to how relevant you are to the search that's being conducted. The reason we're bringing this up is because, like Sam alluded to before, we've analyzed over $10 billion in unique spend and over $30 billion total. We know how important this quality score metric is to overall importance. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that when we're managing our account, we are optimizing towards this relevancy and we are getting all of these great, I guess you can call them discounts coming from Google just because we're more relevant to the next person in line. And really this is how quality score is actually measured. So you can see a scale from 1 to 10, number 1 being disgusting, sorry for the language, and number 10 being perfect. You want to make sure you're as high on the scale as possible. We're seeing most people coming through a quality score of around 5, and that actually might be a little bit too generous there. The higher we are on this ranking, the better your ad rank will be. The more impressions, qualified impressions you're going to receive, and the lower your cost per click is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, quality score is a major factor in running successful AdWords accounts. But one of the things that we've found, and actually Google will tell you, is that there's billions of searches done every day around the world on Google, and obviously even more when you start talking about some of the other networks. But the thing is, as searchers, we're searching much more specifically and in much more different ways nowadays, to the point where over 20% of the searches are actually unique in Google's eyes. So that really shows how important it is to make sure that you're in the AdWords account and you're improving the results on a regular basis through adding keywords and adding negatives. But it also shows how important quality score is. So when we talk about how quality score impacts your account, obviously it improves your impressions, improves your ad rank, it gives you cheaper cost per clicks, it gives you cheaper cost per acquisitions, and overall just better results. one of the interesting things is, exactly how is quality score calculated? So what we've been able to determine in working through Google and through all the data is the biggest factor in quality score is in fact your click-through rate. So that's the amount of clicks you get on a keyword over the amount of times it's been searched, or how many impressions. But one of the next biggest things there is, how relevant the ad text is directly back to the keyword. So if you take a look in the top right-hand corner, we have a pretty good example for you. It says men's leather shoes size 9. So if we think about that and you look at actually Zappos, Zappos runs an Unreal AdWords account that you can't go walk into a Zappos store and buy shoes. They do everything online. But look how relevant their ad copy is directly back to the search term. Size 9 men's shoes, it speaks 100% back to the actual search query. And that does things like improve the click-through rate. It is the most relevant ad text you can really have. And for a fact they're going to a page with all size 9 men's shoes. So at the end of the day, the relevant ad text increases your click-through rate, which in return improves your quality score and lowers your cost per clicks.
Yeah, and I think we actually already saw the slide, and we know how quality score impacts your cost per click, with the benchmark being 7, even though we're seeing people come through with the 5. And again, just to reiterate on the 6 steps you got to take, number 1, we need that strategy in place in order to do our AdWords account effectively. We need to track our results through our conversions. We need to analyze our data, and then we need to optimize on that data. From there, we want to expand and scale into multiple different areas, like I said before, display or remarketing, Bing, Facebook are great opportunities for people nowadays. And the last part, what we want to do is we want to take a look at third-party tools. And these are just going to give us more opportunities than what Google is going to give us directly. And there's a few great tools that are in the marketplace today in order to help people with this. So now, we gave you guys, hopefully that was information that can help you, but now we really want to talk about how we can manage our account in 20 minutes per week. And what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the 20-minute work week from the WordStream software to show you the actions that you should be taking on a weekly basis. That's not only going to help you improve your quality score, but it's going to help you reallocate the waste within your account to increase the revenue that you should be producing from AdWords.
So the first step in here, with the alerts that we're going to produce every week is the add negative keywords alert. Every week we'll come through here and actually give you recommendations of terms that we find are actually taking on clicks, are spending money, and are matching into your account, but aren't actually yielding conversions or aren't making you any money at the end of the day. So the biggest thing here is when we talk about how half of the accounts we've seen don't have any negative keywords, or excuse me, I believe it's a quarter of the accounts don't have any negative keywords, we can present these to you on a weekly basis so that, we can scrub through the data, give you the recommendations, and then allow you to come through and say, that makes sense, I shouldn't be spending money on that.
Yeah, so think about by adding negative keywords on a weekly basis, you're improving your quality score by cutting out on your wasted impressions that aren't producing clicks, and you're cutting it down on your irrelevant traffic coming to your website. Then what we can also do is we can take that waste, and now we can start giving that spend to long-tail, low-hanging fruit type of keywords that we're currently not bidding on, but we're getting clicks, impressions, conversions for, but it's not impacting our overall quality score. So we want to take that waste from our negatives, we want to reallocate that into our new keyword ideas so that we're improving our quality score, but also improving our CPA and improving our overall profit margin coming from Google AdWords.
And then once we've found those keywords and we've done the keyword research and we've brought those back in our account, one of the biggest things we talked about when we took a look at how quality score is determined is making sure that your ad copy is as relevant as possible back to those terms. So then now we can start taking a look at the ads that are potentially underperforming within the account and start writing them to be more specific to the actual searches that users are doing. As we mentioned, 20% of searches are unique in Google's eyes. Let's make sure we have ads that are speaking as specifically as possible to those search terms in order to improve things like our click-through rate, which again gets all the way back to improving your quality score and making your AdWords account much more profitable.
Right, and remember, higher quality score, better page position, and lower cost per click, lower cost per acquisition. From there, we want to start optimizing our bids. This is strictly budget reallocation type of stuff. So I hope you guys are working on your bids. Again, it comes down to analyzing and optimizing data. If not, I actually do understand it's really difficult to do, right? You have to determine how much money you're looking to spend on a keyword based off of click-through rate or based off of quality scores. It's very hard to determine how much revenue you're actually generating from that word and how much you should spend on that word. So what we do is take a little bit of a different approach with our tool. We're showing people, based on how much ROI you're receiving from it or based off the performance of that word, and telling people to either increase or decrease based off of that performance. So again, 20 minutes a week, one area that you can do is optimizing your keyword bids.
Yeah, and then another major area, we always want to make sure we're reviewing terms where we're spending a larger amount of money, or we're finding terms that are spending more money than they should be in comparison to the campaign when it comes to yielding conversions. So if we're finding that there are terms or there are ad groups that the cost is going up, we really want to make sure we have an eye on that so we can either, A, start giving it the individual attention it needs in order to bring those costs back down, or B, start finding more creative ways to find those same conversions at cheaper costs.
Yeah, and we actually skipped over one here too, pause duplicate keywords. We do suggest, if you are bidding on the same keyword twice in your account, to not do that. The reason is Google is always going to show the most expensive one. Essentially, it's the one that they can make the most money on. So if you are doing that, I'd suggest turning it off and moving on. So those are actions we can take on our account in 20 minutes a week. Some other important functions that you want to be doing in 20 minutes or doing every single week. I will get to that, but I guess we're going to go over it again. So we want to reduce and reallocate our spend. We want to automate all of our actionable alerts, what we're helping people with. What we're helping people do is taking hours of analysis and optimization and turning that into 20-minute work week workflow.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is you can bring your own account into this actual trial and take a look and see what the 20-minute work week looks like for your account. We offer free trials, we offer free walkthroughs and really analysis of how to improve the accounts. But it's always more fun to see your actual account run through these alerts. So I challenge you to take a look at it and certainly bring your account in after you run one of those graders.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. It's a free trial, and you can see, if you guys are wasting money and what you could be doing from bid management as well.
Yeah, but here's one of the great things about this as well is, when we talk about optimizing the account in the 20-minute work week, it's how can we continue to be improving the account and move the account forward. And one of the things that we find, unfortunately, with a lot of people is that they're not taking time to step back and actually benchmark the success they've had or the areas they need to improve. So there's a couple of ways we're able to offer reporting that will clearly and simply show you exactly, A, where your leads are, where they're coming from. If you're using things like call tracking, which we offer in here, you're able to actually listen back to your leads. But then B, let's take a look at, a campaign level or an account level and really take a look at the success and how it's progressed over the last 30 days. Because one of the things we want to make sure is there's consistency to the optimization, but also, those goals in mind allow you to check in and see how you've progressed.
Yeah, and then again, coming back to multiple channels, and this is just an example that we have here and how we're helping our customers. So really, if you think of what Facebook's going on with now, it's being used as a remarketing tool, and how our customers are taking advantage of it is 97, 98, 99% of your traffic coming through AdWords just does not convert, right? They leave and go someplace else. So what's happening with those 97, 98, 99% of the traffic that you're generating and paying for? What our customers are able to do is they're able to actually remarket to those exact people on Facebook, and then our tool is building lookalike audiences to say, okay, well, Jim, Harry, and Mike all came through. Look at their friends who look exactly like them from a demographic standpoint. Why don't we send your ads in front of those people too? So our customers are able to really recapture that traffic and bring less expensive traffic through Facebook that's resulting in much less expensive cost per acquisitions coming through Facebook as well. Really, really cool way to scale your account and get in front of millions of more people than you are right now.
Facebook is becoming a huge part of the market, and it's great. There's obviously ways to work on the AdWords account and really get the bulk of the traffic through Google, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But Facebook is finding ways to continue to provide cheap conversions all the way through the funnel. It's definitely a little market on top of Bing.
Yeah, awesome. So stick on the line. We still have some really cool stuff, but just to summarize what Sam and I just went through, the accounts we see are train wrecks. Use the grader, sign up for the free trial, see where you guys are at, and I think we'll give you a good baseline compared to what your competitors are doing.
Yeah, and we talked obviously about the 6 steps to make sure you're successful in PPC. Having a strategy, tracking your results, analyze the data, optimize the data. We just touched on being on different platforms. And then there's a lot of great third-party tools from free to paid. Our AdWords Performance Grader, we have a Facebook Opportunity Calculator, and even our trial of the software where you can actually see your account in there. It's going to help you continue to get a leg up against your competition, help you improve things like quality score, and at the end of the day, allow your budget just to go much further.
Yep, and remember, get in your account every single week. You don't get points just for logging in and doing nothing, though. Get in your account and do something, whether that's just adding a couple negatives here and there, adding some long tails into your account, maybe tweaking an ad text here, maybe testing out the display network with a few keywords and maybe an ad. Do something every single week, because 50% of the people we look at haven't done anything in a month. And then I think 25% of people haven't even touched their account in 3 months, which is just the deadliest sin that you can have when you manage an AdWords account.
Yeah, and the big thing about, where we're able to help out the 20-minute work week is that, we can help you when it comes to your advertising on Google, on AdWords, when it comes to working on Bing and finding sometimes some of those cheaper conversions, as well as using Facebook effectively in order to, close the gap on your online marketing needs.
Yeah, and I think we actually do have some offers. So we have some offers for everybody, and then Sam and I will stick around and answer a few questions. Some of the offers that we have is we can give you guys a live demo if you want of the WordStream Advisor, a really cool walkthrough. We utilize the grader and the free trial to show folks, hey, there's a lot of opportunity for you that exists in the AdWords world. If you want an assessment of your AdWords account, we can do that too. If you don't want any help, completely agree. I completely understand. But we are here to help, and hopefully you guys are getting that vibe from the webinar that we're doing right now. So you guys are more than welcome to choose one of those, and we can have someone reach out to you, or if you want to reach out to us, totally up to you. And then Sam and I will stick around for some questions.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much to you both. That was an awesome presentation. While folks are deciding on their offers, we'll get to some of our questions that came in. So you guys mentioned a lot about adjusting bids on different terms. How should folks go about their base initial bid?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that you want to take a look at is how competitive is the term in regards to the market you're looking at, and also how valuable is that term to you. If you have a keyword that is fairly competitive, but makes you a great return, you might want to think about being a bit more aggressive with that. The other piece of advice I have too is don't be afraid to walk into it a bit before really increasing your bids. You can always start with a lower than average bid in your eyes. Really work on improving your quality score and the data that falls behind that. That way, with quality score, you actually don't have to bid as much to be as successful. So there's a couple ways to go about it. Take a look at the market, think about how valuable that keyword is to you. But then my recommendation really is start a little bit lower than needed, and you can always increase from there.
Great. And we had a question come in regarding some of our special offers. So if someone was to take advantage of the free trial, is it easy for them to migrate back? They're assuming that nothing will get changed in their account, but they just want to double check.
Yeah. So actually, when you sign up for the free trial, there is no posting back into AdWords. That's just something that we have in place with Google. They want to make sure that people understand what they're getting into before everything posts back into their account. So you can go and you can make all the changes you want to make. We will actually show you how that would impact your account. But again, not until you start working with us and going through our onboarding and working with our customer success team would we suggest posting anything back into your account.
Great. And how long is that free trial?
7 days.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about duplicate keywords and how we should really stop doing that if they are. Is there an easy way to find duplicate keywords in AdWords?
In AdWords, it's a bit more difficult. Now, obviously, we're spoiled with the software that we provide, and it'll actually flag it up for you. But in the direct AdWords interface, you would really have to go through and mine that yourself. The big thing we look for is make sure that in an ad group or in an actual campaign, you don't have the same keyword with the same match type competing against each other. Some people have, kind of a strategy in place where they actually do use the same keyword, but they use different match types and stack their bids accordingly. That obviously it makes sense to a certain extent, so we wouldn't flag those up. But you really want to make sure that you're not telling Google back, every time a search is done, you have the same term with the same match type and bid. It's just going to inevitably drive up some cost.
Great. And then we've got time for one last question here. So how often should someone be reporting on their PPC account?
Yeah, what we live by is about 30 days. Every 30 days you want to report in your data. It's something that Google has lived by for as long as I've been involved with AdWords, which is about 10 years. So if you're going to test something, if you want to report back on something, 30 days is about the standard when it comes to metrics that you should be reporting on.
Yeah, and the reason is you want to make sure you have enough data to report back on. There's such a thing as over-optimizing your account and looking at the stuff too frequently and too closely that, in return can be harmful to the results.
Awesome. Well, thank you both again so much, and to everybody who joined us today. We hope that you got some really insightful next steps for your AdWords accounts. Like we mentioned, we have that free tool, so you can head on to that site that's listed right there and benchmark your AdWords account today. Thanks again to Tim and Sam, and thank you to you all.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good day.
Have a good one.